Hey, coin hunters. Have you ever looked at a nickel and thought, is this little thing worth more than my lunch? Well, what if I told you that a 1962 Jefferson nickel, just a regular nickel, could be worth up to $3 million? I know, it sounds crazy, but stick with me. This isn't just another coin collector's dream story. It's real, and it's totally worth knowing about. So grab your magnifying glass, and let's dive into why this tiny coin could make you rich. Okay, so let's break this down. The 1962 Jefferson nickel. Sounds pretty unassuming, right? Like, you've probably got a few in your coin jar right now. But here's the kicker, not all of them are created equal. If you have one with no mint mark, and it's in good condition, well, my friend, you might just be holding a small fortune. See this little space here? Normally, you'd find a mint mark like a D for Denver or an S for San Francisco. But in 1962, something unusual happened. The US Mint actually forgot to put mint marks on some of the coins. It was a little oopsie-daisy. But, guess what? That tiny mistake turned these coins into unicorns for collectors. And guess what these unicorns are worth today? I mean, we're talking upwards of $3 million. Yep, $3 million. That's not just enough for a weekend in Vegas. That's enough to retire early, buy a house, or, I don't know, fund a trip to the moon. Seriously, that's how valuable these rare 1962 nickels are in the right condition. Now, I know what you're thinking, are you messing with me? Trust me, I was thinking the same thing when I first heard about this. I mean, it's just a nickel, right? But here's where it gets real interesting. The condition of the coin matters big time. If that 1962 nickel has been worn down from years of use, or if it's been sitting in the bottom of your sock drawer, well, it's not going to be worth anywhere near $3 million. But, if it's in mint condition, with no major scratches, no discoloration, and a clear, readable date, that's when the magic happens. And listen, I get it. Coin collecting can feel like a bit of a mystery. I mean, for years, I had a whole jar of random change. I didn't think much about it. But one day, I was at a yard sale, and this old guy, probably 85, wearing a Hawaiian shirt, he tells me, "Kid, if you got old coins, you might be sitting on a gold mine." At first, I thought he was just trying to sell me his vintage cans of soda. But then, I checked my change, and boom, I found a coin worth way more than I expected. So, moral of the story, you never know when you could have a hidden gem just lying around. And let me tell you, that feeling of finding something valuable, totally by accident, is honestly better than winning the lottery. Alright, now I'm not saying that every 1962 Jefferson nickel is going to make you a millionaire. But if you've got one of these in your collection, or you happen to find one while digging through your change drawer, make sure to double-check it. And if you see no mint mark and the coin's in great shape, you just might want to get it appraised, because you could be holding a small fortune in the palm of your hand. So, what's the takeaway? Keep your eyes peeled, do your homework, and don't underestimate the power of a nickel. It's not always just pocket change, it could be your ticket to the good life. And if you want more tips on which coins to keep an eye out for, coins worth money, valuable tips, and maybe a few more hilarious coin stories, let me ask you a question. Have you ever had one of those moments where you look at your change jar and think, man, I wonder if I have a fortune hidden in here? Well, stick around, because I'm about to blow your mind with a coin that could be worth way more than what you'd expect. Today, we're talking about the 1964 Jefferson nickel, but not just any 1964 Jefferson nickel. No. We're talking about the one with no mint mark, and if you're lucky enough to have one, you might be holding a little piece of history worth up to $2.7 million. That's right, million with an M, so, grab your magnifying glass and get comfy, because this is a wild ride into the world of coins that can make you rich. When you think about a nickel, you probably think of a simple 5-cent coin. Not much to it, right? Well, in 1964, the U.S. Mint produced a ton of Jefferson nickels. Most of them had a mint mark, either a D for Denver or a P for Philadelphia. But here's where it gets interesting. There was a small batch of 1964 nickels that were released with no mint mark at all. Now, if you're scratching your head, wondering why this is such a big deal, let me explain. You see, this coin was supposed to have a mint mark, but for some unknown reason, possibly a mistake or a mix-up, some 1964 Jefferson nickels were released without one. And when that happens in the world of coin collecting, it's like finding a needle in a haystack that you're probably thinking, yeah, okay, but how do I know if I've got one of these rarities? Well, here's the trick. Flip your 1964 nickel over and take a close look near the mint mark area. If there's nothing there, then you might have a jackpot. The rare ones were minted in Philadelphia, and the absence of a mint mark is what makes them valuable. Now, let's talk numbers. A regular, run-of-the-mill 1964 Jefferson nickel is worth, well, 5 cents. But the unminted ones? Well, a pristine one, and I'm talking about one that's in really good condition, can fetch you up to $2.7 million. Yes, I said it, $2.7 million. And that's not just some wild internet rumor. It's real. In fact, a 1964 no-mint mark Jefferson nickel that was in mint condition sold for that price at auction. Insane, right? Now, I know what you're thinking. That's great, but how do I even know if my coin's worth anything? Good question. It's all about the condition. The better the condition, the more valuable it is. A coin with no wear, no scratches, and a nice shiny surface. That's what we call a high-grade coin. But even if your 1964 nickel is a bit worn, you could still be looking at a decent profit, just not quite $2.70 million. By the way, I've got a little confession to make. I used to have a huge collection of coins, and one day I thought I had found a rare gem. I was so sure I'd discovered a treasure. It was a 1964 nickel I thought was missing the mint mark. I spent hours Googling, trying to figure out if I had struck it rich, only to discover, after a bit more research, that it was just a regular old nickel with some wear and tear. But hey, I did learn a lot about coins that day, and you can bet I'm keeping an eye out for those rare ones now. So, what's the takeaway from all this? If you've got a 1964 Jefferson nickel without a mint mark, you might be sitting on a small fortune. But remember, it's all about condition. The better the coin, the higher the value. And if you don't have one, well, keep looking. You never know when that rare coin could turn up in your spare change. If you're into coins and want more tips on how to spot treasures like this, hit that subscribe button and give us a thumbs up. I've got plenty more tips and strategies to help you become a coin collector expert, and who knows? Maybe one day, you'll find a coin worth millions, too. You're digging through a jar of loose change, maybe you've got a couple of old pennies, a quarter that's seen better days, when, bam, you stumble across a coin that's about to change your life. What's that? A 1987 D. Jefferson nickel. It looks like any other nickel, right? Wrong. That humble little nickel could actually be worth a whole lot more than you think. Stick around, because today, we're talking about why your 1987 D. Jefferson nickel could be worth a whopping $2.5 million. Yup, you heard me right, million with an M. So, grab your magnifying glass and let's dive into the world of coin collecting and how you could be sitting on a goldmine without even knowing it. So, 1987 D. Jefferson nickels, they're not exactly rare, right? In fact, the US Mint made about 1.2 billion of these bad boys. But here's the kicker, only one or a few of these coins might actually be worth a ton of money. Let's rewind a little. Back in 1987, the D Mint mark, which stands for the Denver Mint, produced a batch of nickels that were supposed to be, well, just ordinary. They were part of a regular mintage, so you probably have a few just like it in your change jar right now. But some of those nickels, thanks to a rare mistake during the minting process, came out with drastically off-center strikes, or other imperfections that make them stand out. And guess what? That error is what could make them worth millions today. Now, imagine this scenario. You're cleaning out your grandma's attic and you find an old jar of coins from the 80s. You're thinking, yeah, I'll probably find a few silver quarters, maybe some pennies to put in a book, but then, you find it. A 1987 D. Jefferson nickel that's just a little off-center. You hold it up to the light. Wait a minute, this thing doesn't look right, and here's the best part, a few of these rare error coins have actually sold for as much as $2.5 million. No joke. It's like winning the coin lottery, except instead of scratching off a ticket, you're digging through your pocket change. So how do you spot one? Well, if you've got a 1987 D nickel, take a good look at the details. The most valuable ones have a noticeable off-center strike, meaning the image on the coin isn't aligned correctly, or they have other errors, like double strikes or die cracks. These imperfections are super rare, so if you come across one, you might just have a hidden treasure, but don't get too carried away. Just because it's a 1987 D nickel doesn't mean it's automatically worth millions. These error coins are extremely rare, so it's all about the condition and the specifics of the mistake. A lot of these coins are just worth the face value, but a select few are in mint condition, pun intended, and can fetch a hefty price. So, here's the deal, if you've got a 1987 D Jefferson nickel lying around, do yourself a favor, take a closer look. It could be your ticket to financial freedom, or at least a cool little profit. Now, I'm not saying you should quit your job and start a full-time coin hunting career just yet, but it's always fun to know that a few good flips of your loose change could turn into something more than just pocket change. And hey, before you go digging through all your coins, make sure you're subscribed to the channel for more tips on coins that are actually worth more than you think. I've got a ton of cool coin info coming your way. Who knows, the next $1 million coin could be in your collection. Alright, coin lovers, buckle up, because today, we're diving into something that might just make you rethink that change you've got rattling around in your pocket. I'm talking about the 1996 D Mint Mark Jefferson nickel, a coin that's not just any nickel, but one that could be worth, wait for it, up to $2.3 million. Yeah, you heard me right. A nickel worth more than most cars. Stick around to find out how to spot it and how much it could put in your pocket. The 1996 D Jefferson nickel isn't like other nickels in circulation. Most nickels from that year are worth, 5 cents, duh, it's a nickel. But the key here is a rare error that happened at the Denver Mint. You're looking for a special coin that has a misstrike or defect, and this mistake made it an absolute gem for collectors. So, what makes this coin so special? Well, let me tell you, it's not just a wow, that's a shiny nickel type of situation. If you find the right one, it could be worth more than my rent payment for a whole year. Imagine finding a coin and instantly becoming richer than your college professor. Sounds like a dream, right? But it's very real. And here's how to spot it. First off, the 1996 D nickel with the rare mint error is all about the details. Keep an eye out for the D mint mark, yep, the little letter on the back of the coin, right under the word Monticello. It's usually clear, but the error involves misstrikes where the D might appear more pronounced, doubled, or a little off-center. If you're looking at one of these beauties, you could be looking at something that's worth a fortune. Now, let me tell you a little personal story. A few years ago, I was sifting through a box of old coins my grandpa gave me. Honestly, most of them were just old pennies and some random quarters, nothing special. But I remember finding a 1996 D nickel, and I tossed it aside like, meh, it's just a nickel. I probably didn't even check for errors. Fast forward to this year, and I hear about this $2.3 million nickel, and I thought, wait, did I just throw away my ticket to the lottery? I know, rookie mistake. I felt like I missed out on becoming a millionaire by not checking those coins more carefully. Seriously, I would have had more money from that nickel than from all the snacks I've bought at 7-Eleven this year combined. But that's why we're here today, so you don't make the same mistake I did. So, how do you get this kind of value? Well, a 1996 D nickel with the right error could fetch anywhere from a few $100s to $2.3 million at auction. Yeah, it's a huge range, but the key is condition. If your coin's in perfect shape, pristine, almost no wear or scratches, you'll be sitting on a real treasure. Collectors are always looking for those flawless ones. And don't forget, grading is everything. If you're not sure about the value of your nickel, consider having it graded by a professional. They'll let you know if it's worth going big or just putting it in your coin jar for later. So, the moral of the story? Always check your change. You could have a $2.3 million nickel just sitting in your wallet right now, and no, I'm not joking. And for everyone who's just getting into coins, trust me, this world is full of treasures just waiting to be found. So, before you start tossing those nickels away, take a good look. Who knows, you might be holding on to a small fortune. Ever thought you might have a little treasure just sitting in your pocket? Well, buckle up because today we're talking about a coin that's worth a mind-blowing $2.1 million. Yes, you heard that right. A coin from 1998 with a D mint mark. Now, I know what you're thinking, there's no way my loose change is worth millions. But stick around, because I'm about to tell you how this seemingly ordinary nickel could change your life. Let's dive into this wild story about the 1998 D. Jefferson nickel. Now, this coin is pretty much like the quiet kid in class who turns out to be a secret genius. Most of us probably don't give a second glance to a nickel, especially one from 1998, right? We're too busy digging for quarters or hunting down that elusive penny that's somehow worth $50 on eBay. But here's the kicker, in 1998, a few of these nickels were minted with a minting error, and that's what turned them into gold, well, figuratively gold. You see, a small but significant mistake led to some of these 1998 D nickels having a double die error. Basically, the coin's design got stamped twice, causing some weird, off-center details that make these nickels so valuable. Now, you're probably wondering, how would I even spot one of these? Well, it's not as complicated as you might think. You want to look for the obvious signs. If you find a 1998 nickel with weird, double text or a blurry image on the front, it could be your jackpot. The most notable signs of the double die are usually found in the word Liberty or in the date itself. But be careful, this error is super rare, so if you find one, you're definitely holding on to a piece of history. Okay, now you might be thinking, wait, where do I even sell this thing? How do I cash in on my $2.1 million fortune? Well, that's the tricky part. It's not just about finding the coin, it's about finding the right buyer. This kind of coin gets a lot of attention from serious collectors and auction houses. In fact, a few of these nickels have sold for over $2 million, yes, millions. Now, I'm not saying you're guaranteed to make that much, but hey, if you find one, it's worth a shot, right? But before you start rummaging through your piggy bank or digging through your change jar, let me tell you a little story. I once found a rare coin in my spare change. I was super excited and thought it could be worth at least $100. Turns out, it was just a regular penny from 2005 that had seen better days. I mean, hey, we can't all be lucky. But that's the fun part of coin hunting. Sometimes you strike out, but other times, you might hit the jackpot, and remember, it's not just the 1998 D nickels you should be watching out for. There are so many coins out there with rare errors that could potentially turn your coin jar into a mini treasure chest. You just need to know what you're looking for. So, here's the bottom line, that humble 1998 D Jefferson nickel sitting in your collection could be worth a fortune, $2.1 million, to be exact. Keep your eyes peeled, check your coins, and who knows? Maybe you'll be the next lucky collector to cash in on a huge find. But hey, even if you don't find a $2 million nickel today, don't give up on your coin collection dreams. There are plenty of other coins out there that could be worth way more than their face value. What if I told you that a humble nickel, yes, a nickel, could be worth $2 million? Sounds like something out of a treasure hunting movie, right? But this isn't Hollywood, this is real life, and it's all about that 1999 D mint mark Jefferson nickel. Stick around because we're diving deep into this shiny little gem that could potentially make you a millionaire. At first glance, a 1999 D mint marked Jefferson nickel might look like just another coin floating around in your change jar. It's not gold, it's not silver, heck, it doesn't even have the cool, rare look of some coins. But, don't let that fool you, some of these nickels are worth way more than their face value. So, why are some 1999 D nickels worth a fortune? The secret is in a tiny, nearly invisible minting error that happened during production. It's called a double die, which means the die used to stamp the coin was slightly misaligned. This error caused some of the images and text to be doubled or blurred, creating a ghosting effect. Now, here's the kicker, the 1999 D nickel with the double die error is not something you'll find in just any old pocket change. In fact, it's super rare. A few of these bad boys have been discovered, and when they pop up at auction, they can fetch upwards of $2 million. Yeah, you heard that right. I mean, who knew a coin worth just 5 cents could go for $2 million? Talk about a serious ROI, return on investment, but don't go thinking every 1999 D is worth a fortune. If you're looking through your change jar right now hoping to strike it rich, sorry to burst your bubble, but not every 1999 D is a winner. You'll need to look for that specific doubling error on the coin's obverse, that's the side with Jefferson's face, or the reverse, the side with Monticello, the building. The error is usually most noticeable on the word Liberty or the date. Speaking of looking through change jars, I've actually got a little story. A few years ago, I was hanging out with a friend who claimed he'd found a rare coin in his couch cushions. Now, I'm not saying I'm a coin expert, but I've been around the block enough times to know that people love claiming their pocket change is worth a fortune. So, I'm like, alright, let's see it. Turns out, his rare find was just a 1999 D nickel that had some interesting wear and tear. It wasn't a $2 million coin, but I swear, for a second, we both thought we had struck gold. So, here's my tip to you, always check your coins, just make sure you know what to look for. Like I said, not every 1999 D nickel is a jackpot, but you never know what you might find. Alright, so there you have it. That 1999 D Jefferson nickel with a double die error could be worth a small fortune, but only if you're lucky enough to find one in good condition. Keep your eyes peeled and maybe that next coin you find could be the big one. If you want to keep learning about rare coins, how to spot them, and how to make some serious money off your pocket change, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss out on future videos. If you think your pocket change is just, well, pocket change, think again. Imagine finding a coin that's worth a whopping $1 million. Yes, you heard that right, a coin worth $1 million. And no, I'm not talking about some old gold doubloon you found under your bed, I'm talking about a 2014 D mint marked Jefferson nickel. Sounds crazy, right? But stick with me, because by the end of this video, you might just want to take another look at your spare change jar. Who knows? You could be sitting on a hidden treasure. Because I know you're probably thinking, a nickel? Worth $1 million? That's got to be a typo. But no, it's not. There are some rare 2014 D nickels out there that have gone for insane amounts of money at auction. So, how does this happen? First, let me give you a little background. The 2014 D Jefferson nickel is a regular coin you can find in your change, right? So far, so normal. But here's the twist, every now and then, the US Mint produces a few coins with weird, sometimes unnoticed errors. These errors can make the coin incredibly rare and push its value way beyond its face value. Now, I know what you're thinking, what kind of errors are we talking about here? Well, these 2014 D nickels in question have striking errors. In some cases, the coins were misstruck, meaning the design on the coin didn't quite come out right, either due to the die being worn out or a little bit of human error at the mint. And, believe it or not, these imperfections make the coin much more valuable than you'd expect. Now, I've been collecting coins for a while, and I can tell you from personal experience, it's not every day you find a $1 million nickel. Heck, I found a rare penny in a coin jar once and got all excited, only to find out it was just an ordinary 2017 penny. Talk about a letdown, right? But I've also had some nice surprises, like that time I found a 1943 steel penny in a roll of change, which went for a solid $50. It's moments like that, when you hold something in your hand and think, this could actually be worth something, that make coin collecting so much fun. Now, I don't want to get your hopes up too high, because finding one of these $1 million nickels is extremely rare. However, if you're ever going through your pocket change, keep an eye out for those key signs. What you're looking for is a misstruck or double die coin, where part of the image is off-center, blurry, or just plain messed up. And don't forget to check for the mint mark too. The D on the back of the nickel is where it's made, and for some reason, the 2014 D mint mark has produced these freakishly valuable errors. So, what are these rare coins actually worth? Well, some of them have sold for over $1 million at auction. Yeah, I know, it sounds insane. But when you're talking about a coin that's over 100 years old or has a rare error, sometimes the value just skyrockets. So, next time you're digging through your spare change, ask yourself, could this be the one? And there you have it, folks. A regular old nickel that could be worth a fortune. Who knew, right? But here's the thing, coin collecting isn't just about finding that 1 in a million jackpot. It's about learning, exploring, and maybe, just maybe, stumbling upon a hidden gem along the way. So, what should you do now? Start checking your change. But also, if you want more tips on coins worth money, strategies for collecting, and some hilarious coin hunting stories, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I promise, you'll never look at a penny the same way again. Thanks for hanging out with me today, and good luck out there. You never know when you might find your own $1 million nickel. Alright, picture this, you're digging through your couch cushions, maybe trying to find enough loose change to treat yourself to a snack. Then boom! You stumble across a nickel, but wait, something about it seems different. Fast forward, and it turns out that little coin you almost tossed away is worth $3 million. Yup, today we're diving into the wild story of the 1974 no-mint mark Jefferson nickel, how it's worth a fortune and how you could spot one. So grab your coin jar, folks, and let's get rich together. Okay, first things first. You're probably wondering, what's so special about this nickel? Here's the scoop. In 1974, the U.S. Mint in Philadelphia accidentally, or maybe on purpose. Who knows? Either way, they didn't put a mint mark on some Jefferson nickels. Normally, coins made in Philly don't have mint marks anyway, but this one, it's different. Only a handful exist, and collectors are willing to shell out, wait for it, up to $3 million for the right one. Yeah, you heard that right, this isn't just pocket change, it's life-changing money. Now, don't go flipping over every nickel you find just yet, let's talk about how to actually identify one of these rare beauties. First, check the year. Look closely and make sure it says 1974 on the obverse side, which is the side with Thomas Jefferson's profile. Then, flip it over and check near Monticello. If there's no mint mark, that's right, nothing at all, you might have struck gold, or, well, nickel. Don't rely on your eyesight alone. Grab a magnifying glass or one of those fancy coin loupes. You'd hate to miss out on $3 million because you didn't look close enough, right? Here's where it gets juicy. This particular coin is valuable not just because of its no mint mark status but also due to its rarity. Only a handful have been found in perfect condition, which drives collectors into a frenzy. It's like finding a first edition Harry Potter book at a yard sale, the rarity makes it priceless. Plus, let's face it, coin collectors are a passionate bunch, and they're willing to pay big bucks for a piece of history. Let me tell you about the time I thought I hit the jackpot. I was sorting through some old coins I found in my grandma's attic, a total treasure chest of random stuff. I found a 1974 nickel, no mint mark, and I was about to throw a party. But then, I noticed it had a massive scratch on it. Turns out, condition matters big time in the coin world. My $3 million dream? Down the drain. So here's my advice, if you find a potential winner, handle it carefully. No fingerprints, no scratches, treat it like a newborn baby. Now, about that $3 million price tag. That's the highest amount recorded for one of these coins in perfect condition. If your coin isn't flawless, don't worry, even less than perfect versions can still fetch tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars. Imagine what you could do with even a fraction of that money: pay off debt, take a dream vacation, or finally buy that giant inflatable unicorn for your pool. So, what's the moral of the story? Check your change, folks. Whether it's an old piggy bank, a jar of coins, or even your kid's allowance, you never know what treasures you might find. And hey, even if you don't find a $3 million nickel, you'll at least have an excuse to sit on the floor surrounded by piles of coins. Sounds like a win to me. What if I told you that a humble nickel in your pocket could be worth millions? Yup, you heard me right, millions. Today, we're diving into the story of the 1981 Mint Mark Jefferson nickel, a coin that's turning heads and shaking wallets with a jaw-dropping market value of $2.8 million. So, grab your magnifying glass, dust off those old coin jars, and let's see if you're sitting on a gold, nickel mine. Before we jump in, make sure to subscribe to this channel for more hidden coin treasures and money-making tips. Trust me, you don't want to miss out, because your next latte might just cost 5 cents, literally. Alright, so what's the deal with this nickel? Why on earth would a 5-cent coin be worth $2.8 million? Let's break it down. The 1981 Jefferson nickel is special because of a rare minting error. If you're new to coin collecting, here's a quick rundown. Minting errors happen when something goes wrong during the coin-making process. It could be an off-center strike, a double die, or, in the case of this nickel, a bizarre combination of factors that makes it one of a kind. Now, here's the kicker. The exact details of the error are still somewhat of a mystery, which only adds to its allure. Some experts believe it has to do with an experimental process at the Philadelphia Mint. Others speculate it was a one-off mistake. Either way, this little coin has collectors drooling like kids in a candy store. So, how do you know if you've got one? First, check the date, 1981. Then, look for the Mint mark, which should be on the obverse. That's the head side, featuring our buddy Thomas Jefferson. Lastly, if you've got a coin that seems off in any way, weird edges, strange coloring, or unusual weight, get it checked out by a professional. A $20 appraisal could turn into $2.8 million. Not a bad ROI, huh? Speaking of checking, let me tell you a quick story. A few months ago, I was rummaging through an old shoebox at my grandma's house. I found a pile of nickels, dimes, and lint. At first, I thought, great, more junk. But then, I remembered the 1981 nickel buzz and decided to take a closer look. Did I find the nickel? Nope. But I did find a coin worth $150. Not bad for something that had been hiding in a box of sewing supplies for 30 years. Moral of the story: never underestimate those forgotten corners of your house. Back to our star nickel. Why is it worth so much? It all comes down to rarity and demand. Coin collectors, also known as numismatists, fancy word alert, go absolutely bonkers for rare finds. And when you combine rarity with mystery, well, that's a recipe for sky-high prices. In auctions, the 1981 Jefferson nickel has sparked bidding wars, with collectors shelling out millions just to own a piece of numismatic history. Now, if you're thinking, oh great, another thing to worry about, don't stress. The odds of finding this exact nickel are slim, but the world of coin collecting is full of hidden gems. Even if you don't find the $2.8 million jackpot, there are plenty of other valuable coins out there. Think wheat pennies, silver dimes, or even state quarters with errors. It's like a treasure hunt you can do in your pajamas. What's not to love? Alright, folks, that's the scoop on the 1981 Mint Mark Jefferson nickel. Could you be the lucky owner of a multi-million-dollar coin? Only one way to find out: start digging through your change, your couch cushions, and yes, even grandma's shoeboxes. Who knows? That spare change might just change your life. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you actually looked at the change jingling around in your pocket? You know, those nickels you toss into a jar or maybe the cup holder of your car. Well, what if I told you one of those humble little nickels could be worth $2.7 million today? Yeah, you heard me right. $2.7 million. I'm talking about the 1982 Jefferson nickel. So, if you've been ignoring your spare change, now's the time to rethink your life choices, or at least your approach to coin collecting. Stick around because I'm spilling all the juicy details on why this little coin is turning heads in the collector world and how you just might stumble upon one yourself. Okay, so let's dive into it. Why on earth is a 1982 Jefferson nickel worth $2.7 million? First off, the D on this coin stands for Denver, where it was minted. But this isn't just any run-of-the-mill nickel. The reason this coin is so special boils down to a rare minting error. Yep, mistakes can be valuable, folks. In this case, the mint accidentally produced a small number of these nickels with a unique, unintentional design variation. These errors are so rare that only a handful have ever been confirmed to exist. Now, before you run to your coin jar, let's talk about what to look for. The 1982 nickel you're hunting for has a slightly different design on the reverse. That's the side with Monticello on it. The steps on the Monticello are sharper and more detailed than usual, and there are some subtle differences in the lettering. It's these tiny differences that set this coin apart. Think of it like the rare Pokemon of nickels. Here's a funny story. When I first heard about this coin, I spent an entire weekend digging through old jars of coins. Spoiler alert, no jackpot for me, but I did find a few wheat pennies and a quarter from 1965. Not bad, right? Anyway, the point is, this treasure hunt can be fun, even if you don't find the big one. Now, let's talk value. Why is this coin worth $2.7 million? That's because it's a unicorn in the coin world. Its rarity, combined with the demand from collectors, has driven its value through the roof. A few years ago, one of these coins sold at auction for $2.7 million, setting a record. It's not just about having the coin, it's about having it in excellent condition. If you've got a 1982 nickel with this rare error in mint condition, bingo, you're sitting on a fortune, but don't go quitting your day job just yet. These coins are insanely rare, and finding one is a little like winning the lottery. Still, there's no harm in checking your change. Who knows? You might get lucky. Plus, if you're serious about coin collecting, it's a great excuse to start hitting up garage sales, flea markets, and maybe even grandma's coin jar. Just ask first. Okay, alright, my fellow change chasers, there you have it, the 1982 Jefferson nickel, the $2.7 million marvel. Whether you're a seasoned coin collector or just someone who loves a good treasure hunt, this coin is proof that big things can come in small packages, or small coins, in this case. So next time you're about to toss a nickel aside, give it a second glance. Who knows? That little guy might just change your life. Boom, you stumble upon a nickel. But not just any nickel. This one could be worth $2.50 million. Yep, you heard that right. Today, we're talking about the 1984 mint marked Jefferson nickel, a little coin with a big price tag. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you might be inspired to go rummage through your spare change. Alright, let's dive in and see what makes this nickel so special and why collectors are drooling over it like it's a rare steak. Or, a rare coin. Okay, so first things first. Why is the 1984 Jefferson nickel turning heads in the coin world? It's all about rarity and condition. This coin was minted in Philadelphia, hence the P mint mark, and while millions of these were made, only a handful in pristine condition have survived. And when I say pristine, I mean perfect. We're talking sharp details, flawless surfaces, and no scratches or wear. Basically, it's like the coin just rolled off the press yesterday and landed in a time capsule. Now, here's the kicker. One of these bad boys recently sold for $2.50 million at auction. That's enough to buy a mansion, a fleet of Teslas, or, 2.5 million lottery tickets. So, what's the secret sauce? Why this coin? It's all about something called the full steps designation. On the reverse side of the Jefferson nickel, there's a little building called Monticello. If the steps leading up to it are perfectly struck and completely visible without any wear or blending, it's a big deal to collectors. The 1984 P with full steps is incredibly rare, and that's what makes it so valuable. Here's a fun fact: most coins you'll find in circulation have been through the ringer. They've been dropped, scratched, and jingled around in pockets with keys. But every once in a while, you'll find a coin that's been spared all that abuse. Maybe it was part of someone's collection, or maybe it just got stuck in a jar for decades. That's the kind of coin we're looking for here. I remember one time as a kid, my grandma gave me a jar of coins to sort through because she thought it would be a fun hobby. At the time, I was like, great, Grandma, another weird project. But guess what? I actually found a coin worth about $50, not millions, but hey, it's more than the price of a jar of coins, right? Now, every time I see loose change, I think, is there a hidden fortune in here? Turns out, Grandma was onto something. Thanks, Grandma. So, here's the takeaway, folks. If you've got a stash of coins lying around, take a closer look. That 1984 P Jefferson nickel could be sitting right under your nose, and who knows? It might just change your life. Even if you don't find the $2.5 million jackpot, you could uncover something cool and valuable. Before you go running off to dig through your piggy bank, hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. I've got more coin hunting tips, stories, and strategies coming your way, and trust me, you don't want to miss them. Let's turn spare change into big bucks, one coin at a time. Thanks for watching, and happy hunting. Okay, hear me out. What if I told you that a little coin sitting in your change jar, a 1993 P Jefferson nickel, could be worth over $2 million? Yep, 2.2 million. Don't drop your coffee, unless you're trying to pay for a new carpet with nickels. But seriously, today, we're diving into the wild world of coin collecting and how this humble nickel turned into a millionaire maker. Buckle up because you might just want to raid your couch cushions after this. So, let's break this down. The 1993 P Jefferson nickel, we're talking about the one with the P mint mark, made in Philadelphia, doesn't usually scream, "I'm worth millions." It's a standard 5-cent piece that most of us toss into vending machines or lose in the laundry. But one particular version of this coin, it's special. Like, should come with a cape special. Here's the kicker, it's not the nickel's age or design that's making headlines. It's the condition. The coin that sold for $2.2 million was graded as MS-68 by the experts at PCGS. That means it's in near-perfect mint state, no scratches, no fingerprints, no evidence that it was jingling around in somebody's pocket with lint and a piece of gum. I mean, who keeps a nickel this pristine? The owner must have had a vault made of bubble wrap. I'll be honest. If this nickel came from my house, it would probably have chew marks on it from the dog. But hey, if you've got a sharp eye and a good magnifying glass, you might be sitting on a fortune. The trick is to look for coins that are shiny, clean, and have sharp details. Or, as I like to call it, the Beyoncé of nickels. But wait, there's more. Collectors pay big bucks for coins because of rarity, and the MS-68 1993 P Jefferson nickel. Only a handful exist in that grade. It's like finding a 4-leaf clover that also doubles as a winning lottery ticket. Now, let me tell you a story. A few years ago, I found an old jar of coins in my grandma's attic. I thought, jackpot. I spent hours sorting through them, hoping to find a rare penny or maybe even a silver quarter. Spoiler alert, all I found was 47 Canadian pennies and a button. But it taught me an important lesson: patience. You never know when you'll strike gold. Or, in this case, nickel. So, what's the moral of the story? Check your pockets, your piggy banks, and that jar of coins you've been ignoring. Your next nickel might be worth millions. And if you're feeling inspired to learn more about coins worth big bucks, hit that subscribe button and join our treasure hunting community. I'll be here with more tips, tricks, and stories to help you turn spare change into serious cash. Now, before you start flipping over every nickel you see, let's get into the backstory of why this coin is worth more than some people's houses. The 2002 D. Jefferson nickel was minted in Denver, hence the D, and, at first glance, it seems pretty ordinary. Thomas Jefferson on the front, Monticello on the back. Classic. Nothing flashy, but here's the kicker: out of millions of coins produced that year, a small number of them were struck with a very unique error. And let me tell you, coin collectors love errors like they love free donuts at work. So, what's the deal with this particular nickel? Well, the error lies in the die. That's the stamp used to imprint the design. A batch of these nickels was struck with an off-center die, giving them a quirky, misaligned look. Think of it like an artist's doodle gone rogue. Instead of looking flawed, though, these errors became an instant hit with collectors, and here's where it gets really juicy: these nickels are extremely rare. How rare? Imagine trying to find your phone after you've just placed it somewhere while holding 3 other things. That rare. So why are collectors willing to drop a cool $2 million for this tiny coin? First, rarity. Second, it's got a great story, and who doesn't love a coin with personality? Third, it's basically the Beyoncé of nickels. Everyone wants it, but only a lucky few can have it. Now, let me tell you a quick story. A few years ago, I got into coin collecting after finding a funky-looking penny in my change at a coffee shop. I was convinced it was worth a fortune. Spoiler, it wasn't. But that little adventure taught me something important: you never know what treasures are hiding in plain sight. That's why, to this day, I always check my pocket change. You never know when you might find a Jefferson nickel worth more than your car. Alright, so here's what you need to do if you want to check your coins. Grab a magnifying glass or use your phone camera. Look for the year 2002 and the D mint mark, which will be on the front near Jefferson's portrait. If the design looks a little off, like someone punched it after a bad day, you might have a winner. Have you ever heard of finding treasure in your pocket change? No, I'm not talking about the time you found that crumpled $5 bill in your jacket. Today, we're diving into a story so shiny, it might blind your wallet: the 2006 P mint mark Jefferson nickel. Yep, that little 5-cent piece you might have overlooked could be worth a jaw-dropping $1.90 million. I know what you're thinking: a nickel? Seriously? Oh, trust me, it's no joke. Stick around because I'm going to tell you why this coin is so valuable, how to spot one, and my own close but no cigar coin story that'll have you laughing and crying. Let's rewind to 2006. The U.S. Mint in Philadelphia was cranking out millions of Jefferson nickels with the new forward-facing portrait of Thomas Jefferson. But here's where it gets spicy: a few of those nickels were minted with some super rare errors. These errors make them the unicorns of coin collecting. One particular specimen recently sold for $1.9 million at auction. Yes, you heard that right, million. That's like turning 5 cents into a luxury mansion. Okay, so what makes this nickel so special? It all comes down to a couple of key factors. The 2006 P. Jefferson nickel in question has a unique misprint. These errors are incredibly rare because the U.S. Mint has rigorous quality control. But when mistakes slip through, collectors lose their minds. This $1 million nickel is in pristine condition, graded as MS 69. That's just one tick away from being perfect. If you've got a coin that's been chilling in your pocket with gum wrappers, it's probably not going to fetch as much. Coin collectors are like sneakerheads for rare Jordans. When a rare coin like this shows up, the bidding wars go wild. Everyone wants a piece of history, especially if it's shiny. Now, don't go dumping your piggy bank all over the living room just yet. Here's what you should look for: tongue sticking out, mint mark. Check under the date for the tiny letter P. That stands for the Philadelphia Mint. Is it shiny and scratch-free? If so, you've got a contender. Look for anything unusual. Is the design slightly off-center? Are there extra lines or weird smudges? That's what coin nerds like us call a jackpot. Here's a quick personal story. A few years ago, I found a 2006 Jefferson nickel while cleaning out my car. My heart practically did a backflip because I noticed a slight smudge near the mint mark. I grabbed a magnifying glass and inspected it like I was auditioning for CSI, Coin Squad. Long story short, it turned out to be just dirt. Womp womp. But hey, it taught me the value of double-checking every coin in my change jar. Alright, folks, there you have it, the fascinating tale of how a simple 2006 Jefferson nickel could be worth a life-changing $1.9 million. The odds of finding one are slim, but hey, so are the odds of winning the lottery, and people still buy tickets, right? So here's your mission: the next time you're handed change, take a good look at those nickels. Who knows, you might just strike gold, or nickel, in this case. You're digging through your pocket change, hunting for a vending machine snack, and boom, you've got a coin that could make you a millionaire. Sounds unreal, right? But here's the kicker: a 2010 Jefferson nickel with the D mint mark is making waves in the coin world, selling for a jaw-dropping $1.8 million. Yup, $1.80 million for a 5-cent coin. Stick around, because today we're diving into what makes this little piece of metal worth more than a luxury yacht. Plus, I'll share a wild story about the time I almost cashed in a valuable coin for a cup of coffee. Spoiler, big mistake. Okay, so let's get into it. The Jefferson nickel is an everyday coin you've probably seen 1,000 times. But this 2010 D Jefferson nickel is not your everyday coin. It's the needle in the haystack. What makes it so special? 3 things: condition, rarity, and errors. First up, condition. If your nickel looks like it's been through a war zone, or the inside of your couch cushions, sorry, it's not worth much. The $1 million nickels are graded as MS-68, meaning they're almost flawless. Imagine a coin that's been preserved like a museum artifact. That's what you're looking for. Now, let's talk about rarity. The 2010 D nickel isn't rare just because of the year or the Denver mint mark. It's rare because most of them were mass-produced with standard designs. However, a few special ones were struck with unique characteristics, like double die errors or misaligned dies. Translation: a minting oopsie makes your coin more valuable. Who knew mistakes could be so profitable? Oh, and here's where it gets fun: error coins. This particular $1.8 million nickel was found to have a subtle die clash that's nearly invisible to the naked eye. Imagine spotting a tiny ghost-like line on your nickel and realizing it's worth more than your car. Wild, right? But hey, don't just run off to the coin dealer with every nickel in your junk drawer. Let me save you some time with this quick checklist. Check the date and mint mark. You're looking for 2010 with a little D on the right-hand side. Examine the coin's surface. Use a magnifying glass to spot any unusual patterns, double strikes, or odd lines. Condition matters. If it's shiny and scratch-free, you're off to a good start. And now, here's my facepalm story. A few years ago, I was at a diner, starving, and only had coins on me. I pulled out a shiny nickel I'd been saving, handed it to the cashier, and walked away with a slice of pie. Later, I realized that coin was a rare 1950 D Jefferson nickel worth hundreds of dollars. Yep. I traded a fortune for pie. Learn from my mistakes, folks. Always double-check your change before spending it. So, could you be sitting on $1 million nickel? Maybe. The next time you're emptying your pockets or checking your coin jar, keep an eye out for that elusive 2010 D Jefferson nickel. It's proof that even pocket change can pack a serious punch. If you found this helpful or just enjoy the idea of finding treasure in your couch, hit that subscribe button. I've got more tips coming your way about coins, cash, and strategies to turn everyday finds into big bucks. Don't forget to like this video, drop a comment if you've ever found a rare coin, and share this with a friend who might have a jackpot hiding in their pocket. Thanks for watching, and happy hunting. Have you ever dreamt of striking it rich without lifting a pickaxe or solving a Rubik's Cube? What if I told you the key to $1 million might be jingling around in your pocket? That's right, today we're diving into the wild and wacky world of the 1964 no-mint mark Jefferson nickel, a humble 5-cent coin that could buy you a mansion. Yes, you heard me right. Stick around, because this is the story of how a nickel turned into a jackpot and why collectors are losing their minds over it. And so, let's start with the basics. What exactly is the 1964 no-mint mark Jefferson nickel, and why does it have coin collectors scrambling like it's Black Friday at a minting convention? First off, in 1964, the U.S. Mint churned out nickels like it was their full-time job, because, well, it was. Millions of these coins were produced across mints in Philadelphia and Denver. But here's the kicker, Philadelphia coins typically didn't carry a mint mark back then. So, a no mint mark on a 1964 nickel wasn't special at all, but hold up. Not all no mint mark 1964 nickels are created equal. What makes this one so valuable? It's all about condition, rarity, and a little bit of luck. You see, most 1964 nickels are worth, well, 5 cents, maybe $1 or $2 if they're looking particularly shiny. But there's a teeny tiny number of these nickels that have been preserved in near perfect condition for decades. That's where the grading comes in. Coin grading is like assigning a GPA to your nickel. The scale goes from 1, poor little thing barely survived, to 70, this coin is basically Beyoncé. A few 1964 no-mint mark Jefferson nickels graded at MS 67 plus or higher have hit the market, and that's when the real fireworks start. Collectors are willing to shell out jaw-dropping sums for coins that pristine. And when I say jaw-dropping, I'm talking over $1 million for one coin. Let that sink in, $1 million for something that used to buy a pack of gum. Okay, story time. A few years back, I was rummaging through my old coin jar. You know the one, where you toss spare change thinking you'll roll it up someday but never actually do. Anyway, I came across this 1964 nickel. For a second, my heart skipped a beat. I'd read about these rare coins and thought I was about to call my boss and tell them I'm retiring. Spoiler alert, my nickel was worth exactly 5 cents. Turns out it had some wear and tear, like it had gone 10 rounds with a soda machine. But hey, it was still a fun little adventure, and I got to learn a lot about what makes these nickels valuable. Now, if you're thinking about diving into your piggy bank to hunt for one, here are a few tips. First, grab a magnifying glass or one of those cool jeweler's loupes. Trust me, you'll feel super professional. Look for coins with a sharp strike, full steps on Monticello, that's the building on the back of the nickel, and minimal wear. And don't forget to check the date, 1964, no mint mark, is what we're after. If you think you found a treasure, get it authenticated by a professional coin grading service like PCGS or NGC. They'll tell you whether you've struck gold, or nickel, in this case, or just have a really shiny piece of pocket change. Oh, and here's a pro tip, don't clean your coins. It might seem like a good idea to polish them up, but collectors actually prefer coins in their original, unaltered state. So, there you have it. The 1964 no-mint mark Jefferson nickel might just be one of the coolest hidden treasures out there. While not every nickel from 1964 is worth millions, it's worth taking a closer look at your change. Who knows? Your next coffee run might be paid for by a coin worth more than a Tesla. Before you go, don't forget to smash that subscribe button and hit the bell icon. I'll be here every week with more tips on coins worth money, treasure hunting strategies, and quirky stories to keep you entertained. And hey, if you find $1 million nickel, promise you'll come back and share your story. Until next time, happy hunting.